I'd like you to do the first two problems here and see if you can do them on your own. This is old stuff, factoring out a GCF and factoring a quadratic. So I'm going to go through them with you for those who need a reminder, but you're going to get a lot more out of this if you go ahead and work the problems on your own. Once this thing focuses, oh, come on. All right, here we are. So for those who need a reminder about GCF, what we're looking for is an answer that's going to be in this format. It's going to have our GCF out in front, followed by a parentheses. And since there's three terms here, there should be three terms inside of our parentheses as well. And the idea is we want the inside of the parenthesis to be as simple and small as possible, which means we want to get the most on the outside that we can. So we're looking for the biggest thing that goes into all three of these terms. So I'm going to start making some factor pairs. I always start with the smallest number when I'm doing this. So 1 times 6, 2 times 3. Those are the only factor pairs for 6. And then I'll just look at the biggest one and ask the question, does 6 go into 22? No. So 6 is out. That's not going to be our GCF. Does 3 go into 22 or into 20? No, so 3 is out also. Hopefully 2 does. Does 2 go into 22 and into 20? It does. So that must be our GCF for 6, 22, and 20. There's nothing bigger than 2 that goes into all of these. So 2. And then do we have x's in all three terms? Yes, we do. I want the most x's I can get outside. So what's the most x's that I can pull out of all three of these terms? I can get 3 x's out of all of them. So kind of the shortcut or the cheat code to that is to just look for the smallest exponent. So we got 2x to the third. So now I just need to figure out what goes inside, so that when we multiply by this 2x to the third, we would end up getting our original expression. So 2x to the third, this must be a 3, because 2 times 3 would get me 6. And then I need x to the fifth. I've got x to the third. I need 2 more x's to get up to x to the fifth here. So 3x squared. My next term needs to multiply to give me 22x to the fourth. So 2 times something gives me 22. I think that's 11. And I need x to the fourth. I've already got x to the third being multiplied. I need 1 more x here. And then what's going to multiply last to give me 20x to the third? 2 times 10 will get me the 20. I don't need any more x's because I'm already going to be multiplying by x to the third out here. That gets me everything I need. So there's my other factor. And we'll do our last check and see, is there anything else that I can factor in here? Do they all have x's? No, that's good. Can you think of a number other than 1 that goes into 3 and 11 and 10? No, that means that this was our GCF. So that's it. Questions on GCF? All right, so now we're going to do the quadratic. For this, we're going to end up with an answer that looks like this. So let's set up our format. Let's set up our X in our box. Good morning. Thank you. Can you give it to him? He's right in the corner there by the door. Thank you. And we're going to need 3 numbers from our original problem, A, B, and C. A is 3, B is 11, C is 10. Yep, you're all good. Thank you. All right, do you guys remember where everything goes? I see many of you are already done with this. You're waiting for me to catch up to you. A times C goes in the top. A times C, 3 times 10, that's 30. B goes in the bottom, that's 11. And I need 2 numbers to go on the side that are going to multiply to 30 and add up to 11. For those who've already done this, what would you come up with for their side numbers? 5 and 6. Let me check. 5 plus 6 is 11. 5 times 6 is 30. Perfect. Let's get all this stuff into the box now. This 3x squared from the original goes in there. This 10 from the original goes in there. And then our 5 and our 6 are both going to get x's, and they'll go in there as well. So 5x and 6x. And then we just need to figure out what goes on the outside, and that gives us our two factors. The cheat code I gave you last class was focus on the top row and find a GCF. What's the biggest number that goes into both 3 and 6? 3 goes into both of those. And we're going to need an x there. So this will be 3x, which means this must just be x. 3x times x would get us that 3x squared. And then we'll work through and figure out what needs to go up here. I need to get a 6x. 3x times 2 gets us 6x. And then down here, I need to get a 5x. X times 5 gets us 5x. So my final factors are 3x plus 5 and x plus 2. And we're done. How many people were able to get both of those on their own? You guys doing pretty well with these? Seems like, looking at your assignments, seems like you guys are doing great with them. All right, so the new thing today is not actually new. I've already hinted at that. We're just going to combine these two ideas, factoring out a GCF and factoring the quadratic together into one problem. Did you guys notice when you were doing these that these matched? Anybody else notice that? When we did our GCF, this ended up being the problem we did. That was on purpose because we are going to do this problem down here, number 3, which looks a lot like number 1, doesn't it? In fact, it looks identical. And we've already done all of the work we need to do for this. So really, we're just going to kind of be taking some notes here. So our first step when we do this is we're going to factor out a GCF. So this is going to turn into, and we already did this work up here, so I'm not doing it again. It was 2x to the third. And then inside we had 3x squared plus 11x plus 10. So we do our GCF first. Just taking some notes here. And then we leave the 2x to the third in front, and we factor our quadratic. This is using that whole x box thing. And again, I'm not going to go through and do all those steps again because we just did it right up here. We ended up getting 3x plus 5 and x plus 2. And that's it. That's our final answer. So it's kind of two problems in one. You do a GCF, and then with the leftover piece, you do your x box. What do you think? Anything new? Not really. We're just combining stuff together. So we'll do one more together, where we'll do the whole process. Does anybody have any questions up to here? I'm moving kind of quick. Are you guys okay with that? Can I continue moving quick? It seems like you guys got the two separate things. And like I said, we're going to have a lot of time here for you to work here in a minute. So, all right, let's do this. We got to do a GCF first. So look at your coefficients, 30, 85, 70, 30, 85, and 70. What do you guys want to guess the GCF is for this? You think it might be 15? Let me grab my calculator and check and see if 15 goes into 85. 15 definitely goes into 30. Nope. Good guess. 15 is not it. How about 10? 10 goes into 30 and 70, but not 85. I heard 5. You think 5? 5 definitely goes into all of them because they all end in 0 or 5. I think 5's it. The only thing bigger than 5 that goes into 30 is 10 and 15 and 30, and none of them go in here. So, yes, our GCF is 5. So let's get a 5 out in front. Are we going to need any p's out in front? Do we have p's in all three of our terms here? Answer is no, so we don't get any p's out in front. So, okay, so our GCF is just a 5. Let's factor out a 5. What would we have left? 5 times 5 times 6 gets us 30, right? 5 times something gets us 85. I don't know what that is. What am I going to do in my calculator here to find it? 85 divided by 5 is 17. And that's a minus, so 17p minus, anybody know what multiplies times 5 to get 70? 14. Did you have that memorized? Did you do 70 divided by 5 to get it? Awesome. I would have had to do that too. Bless you. All right, we're almost there. We're halfway there. That wasn't too bad. So our final answer is still going to have that 5 out in front, but we're going to split that quadratic up into these two smaller factors. We're going to do that with our x box. And this will be our final answer. So let's go ahead and get this set up. We're going to need A, B, and C. We're going to need our x. We're going to need our box. If you're feeling confident, feel free to work ahead of me here. So you just joined us. What we're doing today is first we're going to take something that looks like this. We're going to do a GCF on it. Does that look familiar? And then with this piece that's left over, now we're going to do the X box on that. So our GCF will stay here, but we'll have two factors instead of one. So the same thing we've been doing, we're just combining GCF and quadratics together. So we're about to do our X box process here. Let's go ahead and get the 6p squared and the negative 14 into our box. We know that's got to go in those two spots. And then we can start filling out our x. We need a times c on the top. 6 times negative 14, that's negative 60 and negative 24. Negative 84 sound right? Yes. Negative 84 up top. Negative 17 on the bottom. So I'm looking for things that multiply to 84. They need to subtract because it's negative to get me 17. 1 times 84. That's not going to work. 2 times 42. No. 3 goes into 84, I think. 3 times 28. Still doesn't subtract to 17. 84 divided by 4, 4 and 21. Does that subtract? Oh, that subtracts to 17, doesn't it? 4 and 21? Yep, that works. So we can stop there. We'll have 4 and 21. And let's think about whether one of those or both of those need to be negative. Just the 21. Positive 4 minus 21 would get us the yes. Yes, I agree. Cool. So we got 4 and negative 21. Those are going to go in my other two spots. Remember, they get a variable. So make sure you put a p with them. So 4p and negative 21p. Morning. Okay, thank you. We'll get it in a minute. All right, we're about to finish this up, folks. Let's figure out the outside here. So focus on the top row. What's our GCF? What's the biggest thing that goes into 6 and 21? 3 goes into both of them, right? The only thing bigger would be 6, but 6 doesn't go into 21. So I think it's 3. These both have p's, so it would be 3p there, which makes up top here, this must be a 2p, right? 3 times 2 would get us 6. See, what do I need up here? 3p times, we need a negative 21. That's going to have to be negative 7. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And in this spot, we need to end up with a 4p. 2p times 2 would get us 4p. Let's just double check and make sure we're also getting the negative 14. 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. Yes. So there's our last two factors, 2p minus 7 and 3p plus 2, and that's our final answer. All right. So for the folks that are just joining us, today we are just combining together two skills you've been practicing and you've gotten pretty good at. GCF, we take out a GCF, that still lives in our answer, and then we just have to do the X box on what's left over. And you guys are starting to get pretty quick with these. I've noticed on Tuesday, so that's good. All right, I'm happy to work through any additional problems with you. Just get my attention. Let me give you some instructions for our work time today.